With just hours to go until Boris Johnson is handed the reins, British Prime Minister Theresa May took to the dispatch box for the last time. Several MPs, including Labour leader Jeremy Corbyn, thanked Mrs May for her service. But many also questioned her successor's ability to lead the country. Mrs May will make her final speech on the steps of 10 Downing Street. And following that, she's expected to visit Buckingham Palace to formally hand in her resignation to the Queen. Now, for more on this, let's cross over to Ollie Barrett in London. Ollie, Mrs May took questions for the last time in Parliament today. What were some of the highlights from that?
It was one of the longest Prime Minister's question sessions that Theresa May has had during her 3 years in office. Jeremy Corbyn, the leader of the opposition Labour Party, did pay tribute to her sense of duty and her public service, but he also criticised her Brexit policy, he criticised her domestic policies, and he also very strongly criticised her successor, Boris Johnson, calling him reckless in terms of his Brexit policy that he believes that Boris Johnson will pursue when he gets to office, which is only a few hours away now. Theresa May did receive a standing ovation from many MPs in the House of Commons. The Prime Minister's questions is an adversarial, often very difficult half an hour or so of the week for the British Prime Minister, and Theresa May have felt some relief to say goodbye to it, but she's now in Downing Street having a final lunch there as Prime Minister with her husband. She will then say goodbye to her staff at Downing Street before heading to the Queen to resign as Prime Minister.
All right, so what's next for Boris Johnson then?
Well, once he has been to see the Queen, she will ask him to form a government, but after which point he will head to Downing Street. We expect to hear a speech from Boris Johnson on the steps of number 10, in which he'll try and set the tone for his premiership. He'll try and talk about Brexit, but he'll also, you would imagine, want to discuss some of his domestic policy priorities as well. But once he is inside that famous black door as Prime Minister at number 10 Downing Street, we will then start to hear some of the names that are being given cabinet positions in his administration. We are told that it will be the most ethnically diverse cabinet that the UK has ever seen. We're also told there will be more women in this cabinet than there have been under Theresa May. But he really does face a huge task in terms of delivering Brexit without splitting the party, without splitting the country even further, but also on trying to get any sense of any other domestic policy agenda achieved as well while he's in office. Theresa May has been Prime Minister for 3 months. There are many betting that Boris Johnson, for 3 years she's been Prime Minister, but there are many betting that Boris Johnson may only last a few months, but he will have other ideas.
All right, so they're waiting for, UK waiting for their new Prime Minister. Thank you very much, Ollie Barrett, speaking to us from London.